Hi there, Daniel from Learning on Demand English here, and I was just speaking to Dmitry from Russia, who had a really good concern, a really good issue that I think resonates with a lot of language learners, and that is connected to the way in which we acquire language. A lot of people believe that there is this perfect language ability that can be attained, a way of speaking in a perfect fashion. And that's quite simply a myth. There are over 170,000 words in English at the moment, and that number grows every day. Phrases are often made and born, new vocabulary is built, the whole nature of language is always changing. And so I was speaking with Dimitri about approaches to vocabulary, and I wanted to kind of compare and contrast a couple of experiences that I have seen with different students that I've worked with and different people who I've spoken to about this. So, the first thing to say is that there is no one right answer for every person. What is good for an individual might be completely the opposite thing for somebody else. It's a little bit like a diet or a gym routine. There's no one perfect approach. What I do personally is I look at a piece of text in a foreign language that I'm learning, and if there are any more than 5 words on that page that I don't know or I cannot calculate from context, then I make the decision that that text is perhaps a little bit too difficult for me at this moment. And I maybe go back and try and find an article or a book that is a little more suitable for my needs personally. And the reason is that I feel that I learn best when I learn little and often. That's my own personal style. But speaking to Dimitri, his approach is different. He likes to learn more. He wants to get where he wants to go in English. He has a real hunger and a thirst for learning, which is great. But this can cause problems. He sometimes has so much of a demand to learn that he pushes himself so hard and feels frustration. Language should not be about frustration. It should be about enjoyment. It should be about pleasure, about communicating an idea in a way that's fun. And any time that an individual is trying too hard to achieve that goal, then they are taking away from their own opportunity to have that fun and to be able to kind of immerse in that process. So, in terms of developing a mindset, the first thing to do is to ask yourself what is your own capacity and what is your own threshold for learning. That's absolutely the base camp for determining what is right for you. And then the second thing that Dimitri actually does very well is to write those words down and to make a note of them and to be able to look back at those notes. Now, when I make notes, I often stay in the target language. So I use other words that I know in that language to kind of explain what those words mean and what those words are all about, and to be able to solve those problems using just the target language. So if I'm learning French, I will write my word in French and the meaning in French in other words that I know. And in this way, I'm not going back and forth between the two languages. I'm just staying in that language and I'm finding other ways to include the new word that I'm learning so that I'm thinking in that language. Because ultimately, while everyone's different, the objective of communication and learning is the same, to be able to convey a message. And ultimately, one of the best things that comes out of the discussion that I had with Dimitri was this idea that everyone is different, that everyone has their own kind of mindset and approach. And part of my responsibility as a language coach, as a language tutor, a teacher, is to help individuals find their own best system, is to help them find the style and the methodology that works best for them. And I think that that is unique for everybody. And of course, part of the job is to help the student develop new words and new vocabulary. Absolutely. I'm learning new words all the time, and that's a good thing. But also, there is a mental and psychological side to learning that needs to be considered. And obviously, if we are feeling frustrated or anxious or stressed or worried, then we need to take a step back and evaluate how hard we are pushing ourselves or whether that energy is being used in the most effective way. Again, that's part of what I believe makes effective learning is when we become self-aware and we also become aware of accepting that there's another point of view. Personally, I've benefited from language coaching in other languages from other really effective language teachers. And I've tried to go it alone, learning other languages. It's not the same. I can do it, but I definitely appreciate the input of a coach, a teacher, a tutor. So that was a really interesting conversation that I had with Dmitry. I'm very thankful that he was so open and honest to share that. If you have any questions yourself that you would like me to kind of address in this kind of format, just let me know. That's part of the service at Learning on Demand English is to address realistic needs and to guide students on that journey, is to help the student in you get to where you need to be. So thank you to Dmitry for a great question earlier today, and I'll see you guys in the next one.